Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message on dreaming about celebrities. On dreaming about celebrities. God has a way of providing us with all sorts of signs, visions, and wonders, and sometimes it's not about our life. Now, oftentimes in dream interpretation, when you dream of someone or something, it's usually associated back to you, right? Something that you're struggling with, something that you may have been just battling with, something that God is trying to show you with regard to yourself. But there are times where, no, it's not about me. It's not about me. In 1997, 1998, 99, and so on and so forth, every now and again, a celebrity will come into my spirit. Some of these celebrities are no longer with us, and I'm not surprised about that simply because years ago, I saw the writing on the wall before there was the newspapers and the magazines and all of these things that were out there about these celebrities being on drugs. Now, it is 2023 at the time that I'm recording this message. And what I'm going to do with this particular one is just enlighten some of you all in terms of what God does with these dreams that are related to celebrities. Now, there are those celebrities who already have their handlers, if you will, around them. These are the people who are responsible for their well-being. These are the ones who keep us average Joes, average Janes out of their lives. These are the ones who will run errands for them, will handle all of their deals. These individuals, some of them, unfortunately, have been known to use various hypnosis techniques to keep celebrities under control. And so you have celebrities who are in cages, if you will, not physical, even though some individuals have their interesting sexual fetishes and so forth, but there is the symbolic cages that they're in, and they chose the lifestyle. Okay, at the end of the day, they chose the lifestyle. We pray, we ask the Lord, to protect the celebrity, especially if there's some type of connection, relationship, someone knows someone. But at the same time, though, there is still free will. So a person can choose to stay among individuals who have a history of being toxic, or that individual can seek some help, but unfortunately for some, the help isn't close enough to them for them to be released. Okay. Now, you're blessed the fact that you aren't out there for all of us to see, and your personal struggles and issues, unless, of course, you put yourself out there. And even then, we wouldn't care because you're not a celebrity. Okay. You haven't been around. You haven't done all these things that celebrities have done. However, there is this movement with the average Joe and average Jane through all sorts of media, such as YouTube, that some folks are very much like the largest celebrities that are out there, and they've got to get their share of circles around them to protect them from a public who might not necessarily like them. Okay. Now, over the years, I've had my share of dreams. I've dreamt about Jada. I've dreamt about Will. I've dreamt about Whitney Houston. I dreamt about Michael Jackson, Halle Berry. There was years ago someone who, a famous actor that I saw but couldn't make out his face. And then as time went on, I saw a court hearing and I went, that's the guy. He didn't have a name, but I said, that's the guy I had to dream about. In recent years, though, it's been Beyonce, and it was some symbolism in terms of associations, affiliations with celebrities in general, things on the dark side, demonic portals that have been opened up. And some images very frightening, others not so much. Seen you before, you're just nothing more than a shapeshifter. Satan trying to, guise himself as an angel of light and all of that. But the most recent dream that I saw was the body of Beyonce, but the head was that of a monkey. Okay. And she was in this room in a sexual position, and her husband was alongside of her. And he looked as if he himself was even being controlled. And the connections that these two had wasn't necessarily like that of a man and wife. It was more in terms of people who were pulling the strings, people behind the scenes. The atmosphere was very, very, very much like that of a movie set, except no cameras, but you knew that there were people who were watching them very closely, and they were both nude. I thought it was so odd because out of her body came these little small monkey / human beings. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, this isn't, of course, a righteous type of dream. This is a disturbing dream. And the woman is a circus act. That's what I thought of, like a monkey that performs, right? And I'm like, this isn't the Beyonce that all of us knew over the years, or at least what was put out there for us to know. This Beyonce has always been independent, strong, the representation of, power and success and all of those positive things. And even years ago when I spoke about her mother in the spiritual realm protecting her, especially around that time when there was the controversies that was going on with her doing the Black Panther symbolism and all of that. But something happened in the spiritual realm, something quite disturbing, something where mom's protection isn't so strong as it once was in the spiritual realm. And when the enemy shows up and shows out and builds his platform within you or around you over time, it weakens you. And so you let anyone and everyone at some point show up in your life that you think can help you. Now, we're not going to throw out all sorts of conspiracies and things like that. I'm just talking about a dream. But when you have individuals who are on a platform to perform, and you also have individuals that are jealous of your performance, jealous of your success, the old stereotypes, the old prejudices, the racism has a way of manifesting itself. And so the attitude is, you're just like everybody else. You're nothing special. All we need is for you to make some money for us, pay us what you owe us, and then we'll go away. But if not, it's going to get very difficult for you. And just as your ancestors went through, you too will go through. Just as they were a slave, you too will be a slave. You see, this is a world where, and when I say a world, I'm talking about the entertainment industry. This is a world that many of us, we got a taste of through the songs over the years, more and more people coming out talking about all sorts of things. But this is also a world where unseen forces are at play, and people who don't want to respect, don't want to acknowledge, don't want to believe that there is paranormal activity, that there is in fact demonic forces just as there's godly forces. All of it to you is just whatever, here we go again, these talking heads, these dumb people, they don't know what they're talking about. Well, of course, those that are in the circle want you to be that way. Because in this way, you won't do any digging. This way, you won't get a free Britney type of movement going on. But just as there were those who saw how Britney was unraveling over time, and they rallied behind her, and they spoke loudly about her needing her independence and all of that. On the African American side, we too have our entertainers that need to be free too. Not just Beyonce in what she has gotten herself into over the years, but many others. Now, the thing about abuses and being taken advantage of and all of these things that keep people oppressed, held captive, and blind spiritually is that when these things go unnoticed or ignored, or no, that's not what's happening and all of that, because somebody has a good day today. Somebody has 2 good days, 3 good days. I mean, those of us who have been abused, used, we know that we didn't stay because it was always great and wonderful and all of that, and we didn't leave because it was always abusive and all of that. No, there were times where things were just simply fine. And this is what happens with the celebrity. There's a streak of, you're on top of the world, you're in the movies, you're on the magazine covers, you're doing music, you received awards, you get to go to the fancy spots, you get to go to the exclusive events, you are eating everything that you wanted to eat and drinking everything you ever wanted to drink. And so it's not bad today, and it's not bad, you know, with this long stretch of, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm totally fine. Everything is great until it's not. Until it's not. So many individuals that they're not big names like a Beyonce. They're not big names like a Will Smith. They're not big names like Whitney, God rest her soul, right? And Michael Jackson and Prince. But they too are held captive in their mind, in their body, in their spirit when there's a lot of money on the table. A lot of money is in the room. A lot of money is on the elevator. Come on. And so there are things that we can't say we can't do when we're at these levels. And so the celebrity is telling you that as much as I would like to leave, as much as I would like to be free out of this situation, you have to understand that my life isn't like your life. And so we sit back and we feel so deeply troubled. We're saddened by it. And there's only so much that you can say. Now, sometimes the only freedom that one gets is through death. Lord Jesus. Somebody puts their hands up one day and say, you're lying on me. You're saying everything crazy about me. You got these people thinking one thing. You guys are slowly tearing me down. Okay. So Lord, free me. And so the enemy gets close enough to take somebody out off the face of this earth. It's very easy to keep family members quiet. Notice a lot of these celebrities, their family members aren't out there speaking a whole lot about a lot of things. Why is that? Because remember, mama and daddy, there's a lot of money out here, right? And you got that house, you got that car, you got all these things. I'm paying for everything. So you don't run your mouth. And so sisters, brothers, cousins, everybody, they know not to say anything. You see, because back in the day, I used to always think that way. Like, okay, why is it that we don't hear from these aunts and these uncles and these cousins like this? And then when you do hear some things and somebody is quickly shut up or shut out, or there's some kind of tragic situation, The best friend was some of the rappers. Gone. You see, some people said, well, sacrifices take place. You know, the victim is a sacrifice in some of these situations. Okay. But sometimes it's not even about a sacrifice. It's just the fact that that one is going to mess up everybody's money, and that one needs to shut his mouth. You see, our people are free in the African community, but at the same time also enslaved. Let me say that for someone. In our community, free, but also in some twisted, demented, messed up way, a slave. When one opened up the door and let individuals slide a contract over to them, said, this is what I need from you. This is what you're going to do for it, and on and on and on. This is when, okay, you have a choice. And for some of you all, you said that's where the selling of the soul took place, right there. When that contract was signed. You got that right. Some of you all, you did it and you're not even a celebrity. You did it with a corporate entity. You swore that you'll never say, never reveal secrets. A lot of people are going to lose their jobs. And you know what? Well, that's just how it goes. You're going to get yours, though. You're going to get your money. You are a part of the scandal. You are a part of the cover-up. You are a part of the lies, the secrets, and all of that. Now, if we can see that when it comes to average Joe and average Jane, then you must see that when it comes to the celebrity. And when the celebrity is fighting for his or her life, all we can do is pray. Because no one is going to let any of us average Joes and average Janes close enough to those people for us to really tell them the truth. The truth about how they're so far away from the one true God. How God himself is no longer listening to some of their prayers, and that it is going to take an intercessor for a breakthrough. And for others, there is no God. They're right when they say that. There is no God. No God for them. We know God is very much alive and real in our lives. But for them, no. I'm going through all of this torment and everybody's around me and they're doing this to my daughter and doing that to my son. This is messed up and all that. But as Kanye said, wait, I wanted the tricks. I wanted the treats, right? And was it worth it in the end? Many times they end up saying in their various music and artwork and everything else that no, it wasn't. They control every part of my day. The talk show host, his day, taken up. Yeah, because they don't want that talk show host to be rogue and start telling business. So we got to keep him busy because he's a motor mouth. And the older they get, it seems like the bolder they get. So let's keep him busy. We're going to run him ragged. Because there's some that they claim that they were believers, went on shows back in the day like the TBN, Trinity Broadcasting Network. Okay. And so now that everybody know what you're about, you confess your sin, repented, you're out there, but then you're back to doing any number of things, oh celebrity, because you're a threat. A lot of this busyness isn't about, and the Lord showed me this years ago, a lot of this busyness with the celebrity schedule isn't so much about them and their, brand. A lot of it is that we know a lot about that one. And we know that that one can go rogue at any given moment. So let's just make sure that we keep giving them some very lucrative offers so that they'll keep their mouth shut. And they'll be so grateful and so happy, and that they're not going to want to say anything to mess that money up. And this is too another reason why it's encouraged to buy the mother, buy the father, buy your brother, buy your sister and all that. Because then they're going to fall in line too. No, they didn't sign a contract, but they're going to fall in line. And if they don't fall in line, well, there's plenty of examples out there of what happens when they don't fall in line. See, everything is by design from the start. And that same type of attitude and process, system, what have you, is what is going on with some of your top dog YouTubers. You got that huge platform. There is no way that you're going to sit there and talk about too much of anything other than the silly little pranks that you do, the places that you go, the people who sit next to you, the tutorial lessons that you give. Lots of courses, right? Because the mind is busy. You're busy coming up with a course to teach someone, right? You're busy with all of your sponsors and so on and so forth. So you don't have time to sit back and really think about things. You see, just imagine what you could do with a huge platform. How many people would be able to be moved by what God can do in a celebrity YouTuber and through. But we don't want that to happen now, do we? So I could hear in the spirit someone's like, well, back to Beyonce. So back to Beyonce. A lot of people talked about Beyonce over the years. Years ago, I talked about Beyonce over the years, positive, moving, uplifting, inspirational, all of those great things. But I also know, too, that when people say to pray for that woman, they mean it from the bottom of their hearts, because diehard fans, they watch when you rise, and they watch when you fall. And when they see you fall, they take that to heart. You see, that person is like a family member to them. And so over the years, when I saw these various celebrities in the spiritual realm, I said, well, Lord, what am I supposed to do with this? Right? And the Lord said that you'll learn over the years why I didn't want you to be anything more than you are. And at the time, I was still like, I want to be this, I want to do this. And, all those big dreams. When I started seeing what was going on with people, I mean, you can't even sit at an interview and speak a real truth. I mean, these biologists are out here doing things, seismologists are out here showing us all sorts of things. And then you got scientists, and people are a part of all these associations and all these new inventions. And these celebrities can't speak on any of these things. The Lord said, no. And some of this information it's powerful information. It can really help humanity, and it can also, in the wrong hands, destroy humanity too. So every little thing you're going to be guarded about. Every little thing you've got to watch what you say, what you do, where you go, that's their world. That's not a world I called you to. I didn't call any of your family members to that world. And your family members who did have an opportunity, powerhouse voices and so forth, those doors were shut before they even were open. See, God, He protects many, many individuals. He really does. When you're willing to take His protection. Just like God speaks to us, God has spoken over the years to Beyonce, to Destiny's Child. God has spoken to many of the bands that some of you all listened to back in the day. The 80s was hot. The 80s was hot. The 90s was hot too. And you had all sorts of rock stars and all sorts of R&B groups. And we also seen over the years the downfall of many of them. Some of them, it was like a curse. You see. What I see in the spirit as I'm talking to you all was Aerosmith and many of the bands that were like Aerosmith, Metallica, Guns N' Roses. A lot of these different bands and who they chose to serve, what they got themselves mixed up in, deals gone bad, people losing it and doing some of the most unthinkable things in mansions, you see. And when the Spirit of the Lord is welcomed, people get free. When the Spirit of the Lord is not welcomed, God distances himself, and the next thing you know, the father of lies says, no worries here. I got this, Lord. I think about Mint Condition. I think about H-Town in Jodeci. Mary J. Blige. And my mind goes as far back to some of those that you felt the Spirit, the presence of the Lord, even though they weren't Christian singers, gospel singers, like Patti LaBelle. You see. And when God gets a hold of someone and he moves on their spirit because they're willing to receive, that someone becomes vocal about everything that they know is wrong. And then those that are in their circle put them back in the box and tell them, shut up. Don't say this. This is going to mess with our money. This is going to mess with the brand. You knew what you were doing when you signed up. I think of those who went back and forth between God and the worldly, like Al Green and Aretha Franklin. And some of you all who know the history of Katy Perry and how she was one of the believers before everything else. You see. A lot of folks have stayed above ground because they chose to follow suit and do what the ungodly, the worldly, the children of darkness wanted. They had so many chances to not say things, not do things, to renounce and denounce. Okay, you apologize, you're good with us again. But some of the one-hit wonders, that's all you're going to be. And we never heard from them again. So yes, every now and again, celebrities in the spiritual realm will show up. After I had that dream, I wanted to see if in fact there was some type of controversy, some type of issues, what the Bayhive was saying about some things. And I said, well, looks like there is in fact something going on here. And so this circus act is used at opportune times to deflect, to distract, in the case of Beyonce, and then put back in the box again until next time. So as people get older, though, people get bolder, and people don't tolerate what they used to. And so I pray that at some point the truth will come forth, and I pray that there will be protection all around all individuals who speak that truth. And I also ask that folks be saved, sanctified, and Holy Spirit filled before they leave this earth. I thank you as always for taking time out to listen. You've been listening to YouTube, NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, and we do welcome giving on this channel. You can check the description box for the links.